What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is brought to you by George Wall Ford. George Wall Ford in Red Bank, New Jersey is family owned and operated, proudly serving New Jersey residents with superior customer service since 1960. Rye, share your story about your experience there.
Mike, I went on a tangent in one of our episodes previously about it, but I can't say enough good things about George Wall Ford. I needed a new car. I had an old. I loved the brand that I had. I loved, it was an SUV, but had 165,000 miles on it. It was just time, So I hopped on over to George Wall Ford. I saw our guy Jerry, and Jerry and his team were awesome. I mean, from stem to stern, they're there, they're helping, they're knowledgeable. They have so many cars on the lot that you can go in and say, hey, I want a sunroof, a navigation. I want this kind of rims on it. I want this kind of this, that, and the other thing. There's a great chance that they have that car with all your specs, the color, all that thing. Me, I didn't particularly care. I was like, hey, I want to be high up in the car, right? I need an SUV. I'm a big guy. I got a dog. I got golf clubs. I got beach chairs in the summer. I need something that's a little more rugged, a little more. Again, I like to be higher in my car. And I went and saw Jerry. He pointed me in the right direction. And again, it's awesome to have that kind of help and support from your salesman to the finance guy to even they got somebody who helps you set up your car, right? I got an app on my phone now that's got my auto start on it. I can locate my car if I don't know where it is. I could take a trip to Japan if I wanted to and be like, did I lock my car? And I can go into the app and lock my car. So even people helping you set up that stuff, just the hands-on approach over there is incredible. So if you need a car, head on over to George Wall. And go ask for Jerry. They were awesome there. Again, stem to stern from everybody. I can't say enough good things about it. It was an unbelievable experience.
So to Ryan's point, there isn't a better place to shop for a brand new car. Just call 732-704-1932 and ask for Jeremy Wall. George Wall Ford in Red Bank for all your car buying needs. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Welcome back to Interview Thursday. Happy Halloween is where we should start there, right? It's October 31st. Mike, before we even get started, I want to give a shout out. Again, happy Halloween to everybody, but Halloween is also my brother's birthday. So happy birthday to my brother. Hope you enjoy your birthday. He's actually just started a new job in a new city, so he's got a lot of things going on. So thinking about you. Happy birthday. Today's episode, or today's interview, I should say, is Frank Esposito. Frank's a teaching pro at Mountain Ridge. I mean, Mike, how many people have talked about Mountain Ridge over the course of this episode? I mean, it feels like that we're getting Mountain Ridge at about a 70% clip, something like that. It's everybody that we talk to. Hey, you can't talk about your own place, and you can't talk about Pine Valley. Where's the spot that you've got to drop everything and get to? Like I said, it feels like 70-80% of the people are saying Mountain Ridge. So we have Frank on, and Frank is, as I said, the teaching pro there. He's gives us great insight into the place. But not only that, Mike, he's been around golf for forever. He's a stud golfer, multiple-time winner, multiple-time player of the year, multiple-time senior player of the year. Is that an award that they give out, Mike? I mean, he's won everything that you can win in New Jersey. Absolute stick. And we talk about his career. We talk about you talk about a guy that has forgotten more golf than we know. Frank's the guy.
Listen, his stories are second to none. And I know a lot of people may not always listen to the very end of every interview or things of every episode, but I'm telling you this, you need to listen to the entire interview, because the stories that Frank shares at the end about John Daly and Tiger Woods are must listen to. So if not for anything, listen to the whole damn thing, because you will then DM me and say, Mike, you were right about that.
Yeah, it's I don't want to give anything away, but they're spectacular. So I don't want to hold up anything. So now we're going to send you to our interview with Frank Esposito. Enjoy.
So today's guest is a New Jersey golf legend and one of the most decorated professionals we have here in New Jersey. Today's guest is Frank Esposito. Frank, thanks so much for coming on today's show.
My pleasure, guys.
Yeah, Frank, thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. Someone of your caliber and ability. It's a real honor to interact with you here.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate the kind words. It's nice.
So, Frank, let's kind of get started here. And before we get to the present day of you constantly holding trophies or your name constantly being atop all these leaderboards, tell us about your journey, how you got into the game, what kind of inspired you, and then maybe throughout, your youth, and then all of a sudden, kind of getting to where you are today. What was that journey like for you?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Staten Island. I lived there for 11 years. We moved when I was 12. So my dad played every day. My dad loved playing golf and still does. God bless him at 86. But he was a student of the game. Yeah, he was a student of the game. And he just loved every day. When we lived in Staten Island, he worked in the city. So he'd take the ferry, back and forth. And then when he'd come home at 6 o'clock, he'd just go play. So when I was around 8 years old, I had a brother who was 6, and then my youngest brother was just born. So one day he came home and he got his golf clothes on and he was ready to go. And my mother said, "Where are you going?" She says, "Well, I'm going to play golf." She says, "Well, you're taking him with you." And that's how I started. He took me, he had no problem taking me. And I started just playing with him when I was 8, and he, taught me everything that I know now. So it was fun. And then when we moved to Old Bridge, when I was 12, we grew up. He was a member at Glenwood. And it was only like a half-hour ride from Staten Island, but we moved like a mile away. So then I started playing and just kept playing. And just for some reason, just really, really enjoyed the game. So what he would do is when in the summertime, when school was over, he would drop me off in the morning. And it wasn't crazy for me to walk 54 holes in a day. So I'd start in the morning, I'd play, I'd have lunch, I'd play again, and he'd come at 6 o'clock and I'd play 9 holes with him. So I would just do that. And I just, for some reason, I don't know what it was about the game. I guess you're out there by yourself and you can never be perfect at it. And you're just hitting shots. And once you hit a good shot, you want to do it again. And that's how I got started. And then,
so true.
Yeah, it's an amazing game that I hate to this day because it's insane. It's seriously, people ask me now when I'm, what are you going to do when you're done? Because I love competing. I have a tough time going out there just to play. It's just my brain doesn't work. I just can't get into it. I'm always trying different things and you wind up screwing up your swing or your game. So, but the competition, I just love the competition. So I've been playing tournaments since I was 13 years old. He just put me in every tournament he could. So I owe what I am now to him.
That's, it's pretty good. Again, who does any of the sports that we do for the practice time? Everyone does it for the competition, right? For the game.
Right. Exactly.
And then Frank, as you got older, you got into your 20s and you decided, you went to college, what was that thought process like for you saying, you know what, I think this can be a career for me. And I think this can be something I do for the rest of my life. When did that, or did it click early for you saying like, this is going to be my career?
Well, back then it was different than it is now when I was in high school and college. Right now the kids are 19 years old coming out and going right to the tour. They're 20 years old and then they go out and play and they win. I mean, back then it was, it was like being in AAA. You're there for 7 years, 8 years, so the thought was, okay, I'm pretty good at this, and let me see where it goes. And then I went to college, and I was at Rutgers, and at that point it was more, hey, look, I'm 20 years old. I'm at college. Let me party a little bit. So I was having fun at college, and golf was kind of there, and I still enjoyed it, but it was college. So then when I got out of college, I said, yeah, let me try to give this a shot. So I turned pro right out of college. A couple of, I think 86. So I graduated 85, 86. And I went down to Florida, and it was hard. It was hard. It was a different game. I guess I wasn't prepared. But then I joined a club in like 1990 down there, and Lee Jansen was a member. We had like 20 pros. We had major winners, and we played games every day, and these guys were really good, but they were focused on it. And I was like, half-ass at it. But then when I came back, I actually got a job working at Glenwood as an assistant. And, I was dating, and I got married when I was like 29. So, I enjoyed working at it, being at a club and working. I didn't like the traveling as much. So I kind of went that path, and I actually got better as I got older, for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, it wasn't the professional, you think about it, you want to do it. And then, then other things happen. And, I had 3 kids. And so then I got jobs, and I enjoy working. I enjoy working at a club. I really do.
It's a nice story. It's everyone's got their own little journey in golf. As the more people we talk to, as we hear more about each person's journey, and it's funny the kind of things that change people's views of things. You thought you wanted to be a pro, and then you get married, have kids, and you're like, okay, how can I make golf work while still doing this? And we had Tim Christ on, who talked about the same thing. Tim was a superintendent, and he's like, yeah, when I was single, I could work 16 hours a day, moving dirt, moving grass, and then met his wife, had kids, and now the priorities change. So it's interesting to see how that kind of, each person's journey is so unique and so different. They're like snowflakes.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. And like I said, I really, really enjoyed being at a club. So I felt comfortable, and I was still doing golf. I was still playing golf. I was around golf and, teaching and doing it. And I was at pro. So I really enjoyed that part of the game.
Are you looking for the perfect place to host the wedding of your dreams? Or maybe your company is looking to host an unforgettable holiday party with the beautiful backdrop of a golf course? Or just looking for a great spot for casual comfort food? Then you need to visit Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey. Conveniently located in Union County, right off exit 138 on the Garden State Parkway, Galloping Hill encompasses over more than 270 beautiful acres. Book your special day in their recently updated banquet space and enjoy the wonderful scenery on the golf course during your on-site ceremony. You could also host your holiday party in the formal ballroom or in the casual setting of the Hill Tavern Bar and Grill, the gastro pub with seasonal food and beer options updated regularly. Their catering teams consistently win awards each year from the Knot and Wedding Wire. Schedule a tour for your special event at the clubhouse at gallopinghill.com. Don't forget, golf never stops at Galloping Hill either. Open all year round. Go enjoy the course on those nice days in the winter and hang out in the tavern after your round. The fun never stops at Galloping Hill Golf Course. Kind of led to Mountain Ridge where you're at now. Obviously being a teaching professional there and I can't lie, Ryan and I here, we ask everybody a question at the end and I'll kind of like give it to you now, but I don't want your answer. We always ask people at the end, like, where's the one spot you could go play if you can't, if you drop everything you got to do and just go do it. Everybody always says, the most popular answer we get is Mountain Ridge. So throughout your journey, what ended up leading to Mountain Ridge and you spending, a good amount of your time there?
Well, when it was funny when I worked at Brook Lake, which is in Florham Park, I lived in Jamesburg, which is an hour away. That's just away because the kids and the marriage. Then I left there to play. I qualified for the tour. So then I moved in with my fiance now, who lives in Florham Park, but I got the job at Forsgate. So now I was going an hour the other way. So, but in that meantime, the pro at Mountain Ridge, Lenny Sider, is one of my best friends. I've known him for years. And the head of instruction, Eddie Osowski, I've known him even longer. So, they always had like all these teachers. I mean, it's a busy club. And I would just, when I was at Brook Lake and I didn't feel like, or when I was at Forsgate and I just wanted to practice, I called Lenny, can I come over? Sure. I'd go to the back of the range or hang out at the range. I got to know a lot of the members and good friends. Like I said, good friends of mine, or Brett Jones was there. So, I'd see them and I just got to know the membership. So 3 years ago, I think they had Terry Rolls, who's now up in Hudson National. He left, and one of the members said, why don't we hire Frank to be like a playing teacher? And I was like, I didn't even hesitate. He asked me, we were down in Florida. He goes, I want to ask you something. He goes, you want to think about it? I was like, no, I'm in. And so that's how I got there. And to your point, it's a special place. It really is. The golf course is phenomenal, and it's fun to play. It doesn't beat you up, but it can. It can beat you up, but it doesn't. So it's very member friendly. So that's why when guys say about the golf course and want to go out there, it's just always in perfect shape. It's impeccable. So that's how I got started there.
That's got to be it. I mean, it's amazing how everybody we interview, that's their spot when we say, hey, it can't be your club and it can't be Pine Valley. I'd say it's shooting about a 70% clip that wow. They're like, hey, Mountain Ridge is the spot. Like, you got to get there. It doesn't get talked about enough. It's a spot they say exactly that. They say it's fun, it's challenging, it's a great spot. Always in impeccable shape. People love it. So you guys are doing something right up there.
Yeah. People, it's funny. I know the question at the end. People always ask me, "What's my favorite place to play in New Jersey?" And it's Mountain Ridge. And I'm like, "What? Where?" So it's I want to say it's a hidden gem, but a lot of people have played it. I've been there, but it's special. It really is.
Yeah, obviously, it's definitely one that's highly talked about in our circle here. So
no doubt,
clearly it's doing well. But throughout your career, you've won countless events. On all different levels. Is there any one specific win or one specific moment or one specific shot that you recall the most that it's like, what, because I think as a golf nerd as I am, I can go back and think about Tiger Woods and all these memorable shots that a guy like that hit. But when you come into someone of your level who's won on almost every level that is very good, and we still see to this day win all the time. Is there a shot? Is there a tournament? Is there a win that you just remember more than others?
I don't know if there's one. There's a few. Playing in one of the club pros. It was in Georgia at Reynolds Plantation, and I was tied. There's 20 guys go to the PGA. It was 2007 or 8. I played in 8, so it was probably 2007. And it was like a seven or 8 guy playoff for like 3 spots. So, and you're tired, you're choking. So guy birdies the first hole, he's out. Next hole's a drivable par 4. Me and this guy make a birdie, everybody else is out. So we come to now it might not be a memorable shot by me. Right? Doesn't have to be a memorable shot by me.
No.
So I'm not going to mention his name. And he's a really good friend. I see him all the time playing in tournaments in the Met area. So we come to this par 5, and Donna Capone, it's on the Golf Channel. Donna Capone's doing it. I was at Brook Lake at the time. Everybody's at the bar drinking. So it's me and this guy, and it's a par 5, and the tee is very small, and you drive in. It's probably like, you got to go over like 80 to 100 yards of water. That's it. And it's out of bounds both sides. So I get up first and I hit a pretty good drive. So Now I have to move to the side of the tee. So this guy gets up and he must have hit the last groove on the bottom of the club. The ball didn't get 5 feet in the air. Now it's going. He's yelling, get up. And under my breath, I'm going, get down. And sure enough, he hit it in the water. I was like, oh, how am I got to finish this hole now? So, I made a par and thank God I got in. But that was my first, getting in the playoff like that and getting to go to the PGA, but that was a shot I'll never forget. And I see him all the time. We never mention it, but I'll never forget that shot. But for me, I guess it was the week when I won the senior club pro and then the Champions Tour qualifying. I just hit, just knowing how much you're choking and to be able to kind of hit good shots at the right time. Like I said, it can't be just one shot, but it's just a culmination of just things that kind of happened. I mean, I pitched in for eagle it was just like, yeah, like I said, it's like a culmination of everything. But they've all have these little things. And like I said, I love the competition, and I am Italian and Greek, so I am a perfectionist like my father, and I hate losing. I hate losing more than I like winning. I'm a Yankee fan. I couldn't even sleep last night after last night's game.
Yeah,
but
when you told me earlier, when you told me earlier in the week you're from New York, and I saw the result this morning of that game, I knew that was the last thing I was even going to think about.
Yeah, I wasn't very happy, but no, it's all good.
Is that guy from New Jersey?
No, he's from New York.
From New York, okay.
Yeah. Good guy.
Then obviously the other thing, that I'm just, in awe of, I think, throughout your career, it's always been what I think is a high level of performance. There's always been, whatever the tournament is, senior, non-senior, regular event, whatever it is, like, your name is always there. And it's always like the running joke, is Frank going to win this one too? And, in the circle that I kind of like dive in through text message here and there. So like, what is the routine or like a mental, side of it that helps you stay so consistent at your age? Because there are times where I'm sure it's exhausting, but I think the competitive side, clearly hearing that's, part of you, drives a lot of things. Is there something, a routine that you're like, what, no matter what, I'm going to figure this thing out?
I don't know if there's a routine. Brian Gaffney, a good friend of mine, always asks me, how do you prepare? I said, prepare by just being at the event. I mean, there's not, me personally, that's how I am, because I've been playing golf for so long. You have to know your game. You got to know your strengths and your limitations, what you can do, what you can't do. I've always been pretty good ball striking. Putting's been a little suspect, but I just kind of know my game so well, and I just kind of deal with that every day. Every day changes. All of a sudden, one little thing in your brain will click. You're like, oh, that was good. And you'll just hit good shots the rest of the day. And other times you're struggling, and, you just try to manage. And I don't try to get really up and down. I'm not a hothead like I was when I was a kid anymore. So I just try to be as even keeled as possible, and just take what it's going to give, what the course has given me that day, and I don't really kind of overthink it, so
it's so simple, but such good advice. It
is simple. It is simple. You got to know, it's just, when you've played as long as I have in the competition, you've started off so many different ways and shot the same score. I've started off 3 birdies in a row, shot 72. I started off bogey, double bogey, shot 72. So it's not, it's okay. You just kind of do it. If you kind of let it kind of get to you, there's lessons that I have, and we're on the driving range. And as soon as he hits a bad shot, I said, you know what? If you go to the first tee and you hit a bad shot, you might as well just put the clubs on the cart and go in, and you're done. Because as soon as you hit a bad shot, you're done. And you can't be like that. And you can't try to look for things and kind of search. There's an old saying in the old pros, you're not going to find it in the trunk when you get there. When you get to the course, it's not in the trunk. So you go with what you got, and it's just kind of like you're just trying to manage. And like I said, when you're playing good, I mean, Scott Dunlap, when I was playing out there, the greatest attitude, he goes, when I'm playing really good, he goes, I'll shoot in the mid 60s. When I'm not, I try to shoot 72. That's it. So I don't blow myself out of everything. And that's what you got to do. You just got to try to kind of just go along, and because the game's so hard, there's so many different things going on, and you guys know from playing, the little guy in your brain, he's talking to, and I laugh now, like years ago when you're nervous, the little guy in your brain, don't do this, don't do that. I'm like, seriously? Now I laugh at it.
Now shut the fuck up.
It just pops into your brain, little things, because you never want to hear negative. Always caddies, get these caddies at these courts. Well, you don't want to hit it left. I said, why don't you tell me, hit it to the right. Yeah. Don't tell me don't hit it left. Don't tell me don't do anything, because I got enough demons in my head that tells me not to hit it to the left. It's funny how the brain works in golf, and you can see it from the best players in the world. The Wedge Tiger years ago, and he was winning everything, and all of a sudden, what happened? It's just like, and I think that's it as guys get older. Because, and I asked somebody a question. I asked somebody, a good player, a question like, what happens in your 40s? I think I was in my 30s. Or what happens in your 40s? Why do you can't win in your 40s? The game has changed so much now because guys hit it just as far. Like I hit it further now than I did when I was in my 20s because of the equipment. So the courses are actually smaller. But what happens, and I think it's just the scar tissue, it's your brain. Your brain has seen too many bad things. You watch 20-year-olds on the golf, they're always blowing every putt 4 feet by. Then they make them. Now you just, now it's like the ball's barely kind of getting to the hole. So, you take that into account. You take all these things into account. And like I said, you just got to stay out of your brain. You got to stay out of your own way.
It's so funny because Mike and I got to play with each other just the other day, and the person we were playing with was, you can't go left. All right, second hole, par 5. He's like, there's out of bounds, tight all down the left. Don't go left. And I hit a cut to a fade to we'll call it a power fade at times, right? I almost never hit the ball left. It's incredible how tough it is for me to even try to hit the ball left. Well, he says don't go left. Guess where I went? Left. It's just without fail. So there is something to that. Your brain hears what it don't go. I'm going. That's where I need to go. That's where I need to be.
It's amazing, right? It really is amazing.
Was there a time, obviously knowing, and I love how you sound very, very competitive, and I love how at times when you describe yourself as a hothead, because I feel like you're describing me, just riding the roller coaster.
I thought so
the
too.
Highs, the lows. Yeah, I'm all in. I'm like this. I feel like Frank is just defining who I am, just not on his level. But
I like playing with Mike because I get to go. I'm on a roller coaster.
Frank,
I don't even need to play golf. I just go on the roller coaster ride.
I'm 40 now, and I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. But I still, when I make 3 birdies in a row, and I feel like I'm going to shoot 65, I make 1 bogey. Now I'm shooting 90. So I know where you live in. I know that world. So was there a time besides age and besides maturity that all of a sudden you're like, you know what, riding that emotional roller coaster, it's just not going to do me any good? Was there something that made you decide or think or say, hey, listen, I need to kind of change my route here with that?
Nah, it was just age. Yeah, you just get.
I got to wait a little longer. So I'm 40.
I remember playing in tournaments where all of a sudden the swing, you hit one bad shot and the swing just felt so bad, and then you hit another bad one. I was like, I'm not going to make another par ever, and that's just. I'm never going to make a par. I don't know what's going on. It's funny how it works. And like I said, it's the age, it's the maturity. You know what? I don't have the energy. I still get mad. But I kind of, curse under my breath, call myself an idiot, and, you stink, it's just like normal people, and you just, there's nothing, and like I said, if you play enough, and you play enough in competition, if you play 4-round tournaments, if you get so hyped in the first round, you're exhausted by the 4th round. So you kind of learn how to kind of just go even keel, just play along and just go along. And, that's what I learned out there. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's why these guys are just so focused and so just like going along. They just, they're talking about anything else but golf when they're playing. And that's the toughest part that I had. I was every minute of every time on the golf course was golf, golf, golf. What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? And all these other guys are, how about that basketball game? They don't even talk about it anymore. It's like, it's such a job that it's, they don't even think about it. They're really, and it's,
is it that ability to disassociate where they can focus, like once they get to their ball, they can lock in, like snap in, like a light switch goes off and they're locked in, right? They hit their shot and then they turn the light switch off. Is that what makes a good pro, the ability to turn that light switch on and off?
I definitely believe so. If you put it into context, when you're walking a tournament on tour or anywhere else, it's like 4.5 hours at least when you're walking. So a swing lasts a second and a half. If you hit 40 shots, 40 shots for a round is good. You have 30-something putts, you're shooting, 70. So you're actually swinging for 60 seconds. That's it. You're swinging, you're making 60 seconds worth of swing in 4.5 hours. That's it.
And they thought baseball was slow.
Right? It was like football. Football's in play for 5 minutes. This is 60 seconds you're swinging. That's it. So for a second, you got to focus for a second and a half, 40 times. What are you going to do the other 4 hours and 29 minutes?
Yeah.
That's why these guys, that's why it's either, if you look at the pros, we talk about this all the time, it's really good. Good players either are really, really smart or really, really stupid. There's not in between. They're not like, they're really, really smart where they can kind of and just, or really dumb and just walk around, and it's funny how that works. It's, like I said, your brain needs to stay out for 4.5 hours. You're out there and you're swinging for 6. All you got to think about is like 2 minutes of ball and play. That's it. So it's hard to kind of do that.
Yeah, you make that.
It's hard. It's
easy.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's so hard.
When you simplify it like that, it makes it sound like, man, why can't I just go out there then for the 2.5 minutes?
Because, and Mike Goodison, I was out there, I was having dinner with him one night, and I said, Mike, what did you do to, what's the change? What would you give me as some advice? He says, if I could go back in time, he says, and talk to every 20-year-old. He says, you need to commit 100% to every shot you're going to hit. And that's what people don't do. Yeah. That's what people don't do. They don't commit, whether it comes off good or not. You got to commit 100% to every single shot you hit. That's why when you watch Tiger in his heyday, and Scotty Scheffler now, they're not hitting it till they're ready. Tiger didn't have they talk about routine all the time in putting. Tiger didn't have a routine in putting. He'd spend 10 seconds over ball. He'd spend 20 seconds over ball. Make 3 practice swings, make 1. So where's his routine? He hit it when he was ready to hit it. And he committed 100% to every single shot. That's hard to do because there's too many values. Don't hit it over here. Don't hit it over there. What if I hit it on the bottom? What if I do this? Got to commit every time, and you guys know from playing, if you play the same course all the time, there's a hole out there that you absolutely love. You never hit a bad shot on. You always hit the same good shot. Why? Because you've seen it enough and you commit to it. Just every variable, the hole sets up good for you. It just, the sun's always in the same, it's funny how things like that happen. And you're committed to that shot subconsciously. And that's why you always hit a good shot there. When you get to a shot, why is when there's water, people pulling out water balls? You're like, really? It's water. Once the water gets there, now you put the other variable in. Now your brain, now you can't commit. So,
yeah, dude, I love that. Right, that's so us at times because we'll get over the ball, Frank, and I'll just be talking to Ryan like mid-swing, and I'll hit it somewhere it's not supposed to go, and I'll be like, you know what, you just didn't focus there. Like, that's stupid. That's a bad shot, and then it leads to the double, and then you're furious that you made a double. Meanwhile, you're the one having the conversation mid-swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it snowballs. Everything, it just snowballs after that. But like I said, you watch enough tournaments on. You see guys hit bad shots. I mean, nobody can hit a fairway anymore. I was watching a tournament Zozo yesterday. Everybody's hitting it in the rough. I'm like, serious? Doesn't anybody hit in the fairway anymore? No, but you know what? They're committed to it. They're
No,
committed to whatever they do.
Because when you hit it 340 yards, you don't need to hit the fairway. You got to wedge it.
Not anymore. No, you don't. You don't.
And then, Frank, some of the things I have here, like, obviously you've won a lot of tournaments in the NJ PGA. Like, you have. There's no two ways around it. Were there any rivalries or, like, competitors that would always, you're like, you know what? They always, made me push a little harder, or I wanted to beat them just to beat them because my competitiveness was so damn high. Or frankly, on the other side, that always maybe just got you by one or two things. Was there ever that guy out there?
Not one guy. I mean, my era was, the Mike Burks, the Chris Dotchisons, the Ed Whitman, the David Glenn's. I mean, these are legends. And again, competitiveness, want to win, and they're just wanted to win so bad. And I didn't think I got to beat them to win. I just did my thing. I did my thing, and like I said, it happened later for me. It didn't happen in my 20s. It just happened in my 30s, and I just got better. And and then once you get a taste of kind of winning something, it's fun.
It's contagious.
So yeah, exactly right.
It's funny because I've told teams that I've coached that, like, you got to learn how to win, and sometimes it takes a little bit, and it's for you. It sounds like it happened later, but it does take time to. It's a skill, just like actually hitting the golf ball. Learning to win the tournament takes something.
It definitely is a skill in any sport. In any sport, it's the hardest thing to do, especially in golf. It's the hardest thing to do to win. And, I was watching, like I said, the Zozo, and Justin Thomas was on, and they were talking about his wins. He goes, the hardest one was the first one, and then he says the second major was actually harder to win than the first major, but it's always, you just got to learn everything. My journey in golf was, I'm playing high school, and then you go to college. Now you're little fish in a big pond. It's always got to learn whatever level you go to. It's always like a learning curve, and it's amazing how that works. You figure like, oh, I'm ready, and then you go and you get your butt kicked by these guys, and you're like, oh, something's got to change. And yeah, it's just anything that you do, you just need to learn how to do it.
It's kind of what, when we had Max Grazerman on a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, he kind of brought that up in terms of like learning how to win. And, he fell short a little bit throughout the season, but he was right there. And, I see right now he's third going into the final round of the Zozo. So it's like one of those things that, like, I think a guy like him is a great example on the PGA Tour, especially, residing right here in New Jersey. It's a matter of time before you get it done, because once you get it done, I do think it is contagious. But Frank, I also want to ask you about this, because one of the things that Ryan and I have been able to feel from the New Jersey golf community is just like that openness that everybody, when we started this thing way back in October of 22, it was like, would people be open to it? Would people want to come on? Would they want to talk golfing in the Garden State? And the community has just been so open in every aspect, coming on the show, inviting us places, telling us this and that. Like, in your eyes, since you've kind of been around this scene for quite some time, what is it that kind of separates New Jersey in that aspect, that it is so open, it's constantly evolving, and it's just a great little spot to be in?
It's the Northeast. We love to talk about ourselves. Come on. Right? It's the 15 minutes. The 15 minutes of fame. Come on.
So good.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, seriously. And you know what? It is a great play. I mean, just the guys there in Jersey and in the Northeast, but just, whether it's, go, but it is laid back. We have fun. Everybody loves to play, in tournaments, and it's just, like I said, and we do like to talk about ourselves, which isn't a problem. You
No.
know,
We're a particular breed up here.
And listen, that's why we had the podcast.
Yeah.
That's why we
right.
got it. We got this
That's
out here
right.
for everybody to come on here and kind of, brag a little bit more or less, because I jokingly say it, but I'm adamant about it, that I do think this is the best spot to be at when it comes to golfing. I do. I think between the pros, the teaching pros, directors of golf, the golf courses, the public golf, like the amateurs, we have it all right here. And this is just a platform that people could come on and kind of flex their muscles a little bit.
Yeah, and it's a the way the Northeast is, between think about the golf courses in Jersey and the Met and Westchester and the Met area. There's so many, and if you think about just the logistics of it, it's like close. It's not like it's not like you're in Florida and to go play a course on the West Coast, you got to on the East Coast, you got to drive 6 hours to do it. We don't have to do that up here. We can go play great courses and we can be in an hour and a half circle. So I think that has a lot to do with it, and it is the greatest. I love being in Florida. I'm in Florida now. I love being down here, but, I'm like, retire, go to Florida, maybe work. I can't work. I wouldn't work here because I love the Northeast so much, just for that aspect, just for playing and, the people and,
Loud.
Yeah.
Loud.
And I was going to say, like, up where you are, up in Caldwell, you talk about you're hitting driver and you're hitting great golf courses anywhere from where you are. Between you got Mountain Ridge, you're not far from Arcola and Ridgewood, and even the ones that aren't at that like top 10 in the state, you have excellent golf courses. Crestmont and Essex Fells are near as well. Like you have excellent golf everywhere, and especially where you are. It's like every town has its own exceptional golf course. So we really are fortunate
over
here.
A bridge. Yeah, and then you just hop over a bridge and you're even better golf. It's amazing. It really is. It's pretty cool.
Right. We haven't even, and it's something Mike and I haven't gone that far east yet. But like, you got Bethpage not far away. You keep going, you have out. You got Shinnecock and National and all those out there. Like this area is just it's exceptional. It really is.
Yes, agreed.
And so let me get to that question that, we kind of been teetering a little bit here with when it comes to a golf course here in New Jersey. That if someone offered you an invite, now you got to take out Pine Valley, you got to take out Mountain Ridge, because Mountain Ridge being your home spot and Pine Valley being a spot that not many people get to play. Is there a spot that you'd have to tell the missus or the wife or the significant other, hey, listen, I need to get out of jail free card here. I have to drop what I'm doing and I got to go?
I was thinking about that question when you were, when we were texting back and forth. I've never been, let me preface it, but I've never been a person that, people ask me that, what's a favorite course, your favorite course in the world to play? And it's like, I don't jump up and down saying, I got to go play here. I've never been that kind of person. There's courses I love to play. And so there's so many, but when I was thinking about it, and Ryan just mentioned, of course, Arcola is phenomenal. Arcola is just a great place. Ridgewood I would drop. And then I've never been, I've always been a fan of this golf course, but it's 36 holes. And I've always liked the other course better, and it was Baltusrol. I always liked the upper, had more. The lower was just long and big, but I played there after the changes last year. It's fantastic. Love playing that. Love playing Baltusrol. So Baltusrol would be up there, and I'd play 36. I played both courses because they're just. I love playing there.
It's something that we've heard that the members like playing the upper course better because it's easier. It's not that it's easy, like it's still challenging, but it's
forgiving.
It's a better members golf course, whereas the lower you're just like that's a championship PGA professional.
But the upper you're in the mountain a little bit, so you got more. There's more, rolling fairways and undulations in the green. Like I said, the lower is just big. It's just big. It's just long and big. But they made changes to it, and I thought the changes were great, phenomenal.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to play 9 on the upper course there. the front nine, and it is excellent. The view from the third green or fourth tee, right in there, where you're looking back at really holes 1, 2, and 3 that you just played, and you got the city in the background. That view is as good as there is.
Yeah. And then the history behind that golf course. You play the 18th hole on the lower, and you got the plaque where Nicklaus hit a 1-iron or with a plumber's pole and a club on the end of it with a wiffle ball, and he hit like a 2-iron or a 1-iron. Like, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, really? It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
how many people you think
play...
drop a ball there and hit it?
No, hopefully none, because it's embarrassing. It would be embarrassing. But Rigid Backbrook. I don't know if you ever played the Rigid Backbrook.
So it's funny. I did play the Rigid Backbrook in the State Open. I qualified for the State Open a couple of years ago when it was there. And
yeah.
I in my practice round, I made a hole-in-one on the 8th hole.
Really?
Yep.
You wasted it.
Yeah,
you wasted it.
That, and I don't even know where the ball is either. So it's a combination.
Yeah, you wasted it. That's funny. Every time I'm playing in a practice round and I hit a good shot in a par 3, I'm like, no, not today.
Yeah.
I've made 2 in my life in 50 years of golf, so 1 every 25 years. So I don't want to do it in a practice round.
Yeah.
You've made fun.
2. You've made 2 in competition or 2 total?
2 in competition. No, and I don't think I've ever made 1 outside of competition. How's that?
Wow.
I don't understand the guys, and some other guys get, 40, 20, even, my father's got like 8. I was like, yeah, but rolling it on the green from the tee doesn't count. I tell him,
I'll tell you, it's amazing to me how many times you hear somebody that's like, oh yeah, I got a hole-in-one. I just got a new set of clubs. I just, I was like, man, let me start this hobby. And I knocked it in. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, screw you. It's not that hard, right? This game is incredibly hard. And they're like, yeah, I saw a buddy of mine got his first one. It hit off a sprinkler head, bounced straight up onto the green, trickled in. That's how he got his first one. I was on the tee box with him. Like hole-in-ones are where good golf meets luck, and at some point that formula can vary. It can be all luck, it can be a lot of skill with a little bit of luck, but there's definitely luck involved. Like if you're hitting it right near it, that's great, but it's still. It's like Mike. Mike hit one. We played TPC Jasna Polana. Mike hit it to within a foot. Right. If he was a little bit luckier, it would have rolled another. It would have taken 2 more rolls. Right. So but that's a great shot. It's so luck. It's a lot of luck. And I'm not that lucky, so I know I'm never going to get one.
Yeah. Me and you both. That's why I stay away from Atlantic City. My first one. Get a load of this. My first one was years ago. It was at Crestmont. We're playing in the match. I'm playing Pete Bush. And I'm 2 down going to 17 at Crestmont, the par 3 down the hill, and it's like 230 or 220, and the pin's all the way in the back. I'm 2 down. I'm like, all right, yeah, well, I got to win the next 2 holes. I hit a 2-iron, and it goes in the hole. I'm like, really? And I talk about not being happy about a hole-in-one, because I'm still 1 down. I'm going to lose this match unless I do something fun.
Did you win?
He did. Yeah, I was like more pissed off that I made a hole-in-one. I was like, really? I got to waste it here? I don't get a car or anything? Give me something. Give me some money. No, that's my first one. Yeah, I was like aggravated. Funny.
Aggravated, you lost. Now you got to buy people drinks because you got a hole-in-one. No.
I was, that was when I was back then when I lost. I was like in the car faster. As soon as the putt went in on the last hole, I was in the car out. Yeah, I don't like to hang around.
My type of guy, Frank.
I'm like
type of guy.
I'm a bad loser.
My fucking type of guy, Frank.
Bad loser.
Mike, you're like looking in the mirror here. Listen,
I feel like I'm just like, I'm just projecting where my life will be in 30 years minus all the trophies. I kind of like this. I do.
Frank, we do like to end this with, Mike likes to ask, where you like to play, and I kind of like to end with this, and someone of your caliber, your ilk, all the golf you've played is going to be perfect question here. I think golfers are rather quirky by nature, kind of something that we've talked about on this show quite a bit, and we've even mentioned it here. Like we're kind of crazy for playing this sport, that you're failing quite a bit. It's just who fails less, right? What are there some quirks that you have before you tee it up in competition that all of us have, but we don't like to talk about, right? They're whether you want to call them quirks or habits or whatever it may be. Do you have any of those that you have before you tee it up there? Well, I guess I should rephrase with that laugh. Any you'd care to share with us?
So, yeah. So I like big tees, the big tees, right? So I'm right-handed. For some reason, I put them in my right, and I put my ball markers in my left pocket, which people think that's kind of odd because I got to read, but it doesn't bother me. But always have 4 big tees and 2 little tees in my pocket. Always. Then when I grab a sleeve of balls before I go play, I juggle them in my one hand and just keep flipping them in there until I feel one I like. And then I just use that one to start. And then I'm always marking a ball on heads, never tails. I don't know. Who knows? Not that I'm superstitious or nothing. It's just like little.
But a little stitious. Yeah. You're not superstitious, but you're a little stitious.
Seriously. I mean, and you laugh at it. And you know what I do? And at the turn, so when I finish 9 holes, I got to go in my pocket, see how many tees I have, make sure that now that I turned, I have to get 4 big ones and 2 little ones back in my pocket.
Okay, so you don't reload them as you go. Like if you break a tee, you're not getting 1 and putting it back. No. It's 4 for the 9.
No, okay. No, that'd be crazy. Yeah, that'd be a little insane.
No, that's a little insane. Listen, you know what I need a video of next time? Next time you play in an event, I need someone to tell your caddy to video you juggling the 3 balls to figure out which is the one you're going to use, because I need a video of that. I just need to watch that.
It's insane. I don't know why I do it. I try to get out of it. Like I say, I'm not going to do it today. And then all of a sudden I'm like, give me those balls back.
Oh, it's too funny. That's a good one. That's like a really good one. Yeah.
Do you guys want any? I got to tell. Let's see. I got a couple stories. You said something about story. I got to tell you a story. About I'm bringing. So
Frank, before you start the story, I'm going to interrupt you because I got to run. Okay. But this was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for jumping on. I'm sorry I gotta cut myself short here, but thank you, and I'm looking forward to meeting you. Hopefully we can.
My pleasure. Again. Absolutely, we'll get out and play.
Sounds good.
All right, let's hear the story.
Thanks, Ryan.
Let's hear this story, buddy.
Who do you? So I got a Tiger story, a Daly story, or a Freddie Couples.
I mean, is D all the above an option? I got nowhere to be. I got nowhere to be.
Right. Okay. So in 2000, so let's start with Daly. So when I was at Brook Lake, we used to have this thing. Joe Pesci was an honorary member. So he decided to do a charity. What's that?
Big time New Jersey guy.
Yeah. He decided to do a charity at Brook Lake. So it'd be him, another celebrity, and you get 2 pros. So the first year was Joe Pesci, I think it was Mikhail Baryshnikov. How he got him, I have no idea. John Daly and Rocco Mediate. So I'm like, so now they're like, well, Frank, you got to go out because Daly doesn't know the course. We want you to hang with Daly. Oh, no, the manager will hang with Pesci and this guy and this guy. So I'm with Daly. So I'm like, this is going to be great. I gotta watch this because here's John Daly. He's bigger than life. And I said, in Brook Lake, have you ever played Brook Lake? It's really tight.
No, I know, but I've heard.
And you got to hit this blind tee shots. You got to hit them in certain spots. I'm like, this guy, I got to watch this guy hit tee shots. So we went out there. Now the first hole is a par 3. It measured 190 yards on the card, but we changed it. So, but we didn't change the card. It's only like 175 yards. Just people all over the place. Daly walks up and he's got a club in his hand. He's got a 5-iron in his hand, and he goes 190, 195. I was like, no, John, they changed the yard. They changed the hole, but didn't change the yards on the cart. He turns around. The cart's got to be 20 yards away. He looks at it. He goes, well, I ain't walking back there. And he hits 5-iron. He hits like this little 5-iron, like 5 feet. So I'm like, seriously? Like he just took a little swing and hit this like little easy swing at 5 feet. So now I'm going out there and I'm telling him, I say, he's going to hit the ball all over the place. If I tell you, if I went out, I would tell him where to hit it on every hole. If I went out there at 310 and sat in a chair with a catcher's mitt, I would have caught every one.
Insane.
He was insane. And he's talking while he's hitting. He's doing things out there that you can never think that a player his caliber would ever do. He was just so much fun. He would talk to Pesci while he's swinging. He talked to his kid. He talked to the fan. He's swinging. There was one hole, the eighth hole. The eighth hole is a par 4, and the way the cart path ran around where he says to me, where do I got to hit it? I said, you got to hit it over your cart. And the cart's 25 yards in front of him. 20 yards? 25 yards? His kid's in the cart, leaning on the passenger side, like leaning out the cart. And he puts the tee in the ground, and I'm standing next to him, and I go, yeah, you got to hit it right over the cart. And his son goes, and as John's waggling, his son goes to him, hit me a good one, Dad. And he started his swing back. He goes, I will, son. I was like, oh, my God, if he hits this on the bottom groove, he's going to kill this kid. No, flew right over the cart. He was amazing. People always ask me, he was the most talented guy I've ever seen hit a golf ball.
It's funny you say that because I even remember back in the day when John was making kind of like a resurgence with his career and he was battling Tiger out there in California for one of the events, that Tiger always would say that John Daly had the most talent and skill out of many golfers. His work ethic and what he did off the golf course never was ideal.
Yeah, it's just, you watch him on things on the Golf Channel. He's wearing jeans and no shirt playing golf. I mean, seriously, with a beer and a cigarette. I'm like, okay, that's what kind of guy he is, the most talent I've ever seen on a golf course.
Crazy.
He was phenomenal. And then the Tiger Woods one, you'll get a kick out of this one. Tiger Woods was playing in Valhalla in 2014, the one Rory won. Mm-hmm. So the way Valhalla is, you come out of the clubhouse, you go across this little street, and then you go down this hill. And the hill was probably like 20 yards long, and they had it barricaded. So if you can imagine, barricaded, it went down a hill to the putting green. You walk off the putting green, your putting green was huge. You walk off the putting green, there's chipping. Then they built like a overpass. So you walked up these stairs, go over like this probably 30-yard, cart path, but it was, it was in the mid. So you go over that, and then you're on the driving range. So in between where you went over had to be 5,000 people walking back and forth. So Lenny Sider was caddying for me on Monday or Tuesday. It was, I can't remember. It was a practice round. We're hitting balls next to Francesco Molinari. Sean Foley's his coach. He's on the phone. And here comes Phil Mickelson down that hill. Now, when the player walked down the hill, they walked down the hill with their wife, their caddy, their manager, their this, their that. They had 6 guys walking down with each guy. So here comes Mickelson, and I'm hitting balls, and you hear the crowd go nuts. Turn around, it's Mickelson. So anytime somebody famous came down, the crowd would go nuts. So Francesco, Sean Foley's on the phone. Lenny's watching him hit, and all of a sudden, Sean Foley hangs up the phone. He looks at Molinari. He goes, You think that was loud? He goes, wait about 20 minutes. So this was the time where Tiger had all that problem, with his wife. He couldn't play anymore. He had the back issue. So nobody knew if he was playing or not. So now Lenny and I go to the putting green, and we're on the putting green, VJ, and there's got to be 30 pros on the putting green. So all of a sudden you hear this roar. I turn around, walking down that hill, by himself with sunglasses on, like out of a movie, was Tiger Woods. Nobody else. Wow. The crowd, I turned around on the putting green. Every pro was just staring at it. It was like a movie. I've never seen anything like it. Every pro stopped what they were doing to turn around and watch Tiger Woods walk down this hill. And he went up and said hi to everybody. And then he went across to hit balls. In that time, Mickelson and Butch Harmon, Mickelson had nothing to do with it. He took a cart and went to the back of the range. There's nobody back there. He didn't want to be anywhere near Tiger hitting golf balls. I mean, but talk about something out of a movie script. I wish I videoed it because you've never seen anything like it. Just insane. He was larger than life, that man.
And he really, still kind of is.
He really is. I mean, it's a shame, there's limitations now because he does bring something to a golf tournament. I don't care who's playing in it, nowadays, but you put Tiger Woods playing in it, something changes.
It's a running thing on here. I'm a big Tiger Woods guy, and I'm holding out hope that there's one last, moment of glory here, because he just has done so much. Take away what has happened off the golf course, but on the golf course, he's just done so much for the game that, like, he just has it, like that it quality that nobody else has. Like, I understand Scotty's very good, and I understand all these other guys, Xander's very good, but they just don't have it. And Tiger always did, no matter what he was doing, and that's a perfect example of it, just walking down a hill.
Yeah, no, and had the greatest fist pumps ever.
Yep.
The greatest.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It's like Michael Jordan. It's like that. It's like guys that are larger than life in the game, and I don't think we'll ever see anything like that. Scotty Scheffler, great. We'll never see anything like that again. That's like once in a lifetime.
Yeah. Like I always say, he's not done yet. That's how I've.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Everybody was asking me after he had the last. But you think everybody was, no, he'll never win again. I think he will. I really do. I think he will. He just has it in him. Yeah. He gets a little smell of it. He knows how to finish it.
I jokingly say all the time, and I love this, that if his name's on the leaderboard, we all know what's going to happen. We all know coming down the stretch, if we can get him in contention, if we can get him playing 72 holes, if we can get him just being healthy for 4 consecutive days.
Right.
You just don't know. But I do know that if he's on the leaderboard in April in the back 9, we all kind of know the story that's going to be written.
Right.
So,
exactly.
But listen, Frank, I can't thank you enough for coming on today's show. I mean, I probably could sit here and talk shop with you for hours, but best of luck throughout the rest of this winter down in Florida. Let's connect come the springtime, and thanks again, man.
Absolutely, Mike. It was really my pleasure. I really enjoyed it, and definitely let's get together and come over and play Mountain Ridge. It'd be fun.
Works for me.
You got it.